What if you have Saturn and Virgo in your natal birth chart? What does that entail? What does that describe about who you are and your purpose and why you came here to incarnate on this earth? Think of all of the billions of souls who wanted a place on earth, and you were chosen to come forward. You were chosen to manifest a physical body where it serves as a vessel to guide you through whatever area of life that you need to get through. Your body also can direct the goals and the aspirations that you have and the real purpose for why you came here in the first place. I'm Everett Curdy, and in this video, I'm going to be describing your Saturn placement if it falls in the sign of Virgo. So, in astrology, Saturn is the taskmaster. It rains down upon those people who do not put the hard work in, but it rewards the people who do put the hard work in. With Saturn, it's an uphill battle. You have to do the work. You're given a path that has thorns in the way, and it's your job to clear the path and clear out the thorns. It's your job to make a path for you to move through, even if there's a lot of obstacles or challenges in that path. Saturn represents limitations. Like, we try to do something, we try to force our way or push our way to get something done, and then we're given these limitations and these challenges that Saturn wants us to master and challenge, because this life is all about what you're not good at. And it's all about, well, you didn't just come in with this skill set. You came here to develop this skill set, hone in on this craft, and move yourself into a niche that is representative of your Saturn placement, wherever that falls in your natal chart. So I have a whole video where I go in depth on the meaning of the planet Saturn and its lessons and its significance in astrology. I will be sure to link that video below in the description for you. But so what if you have Saturn in Virgo? Well, the very, very first thing that you need to know is that you have many talents, but with those talents comes responsibility, and it also has shadows. Because I mean, if you study Saturn in your Saturn placement, and then you go study the South Node in whatever sign that your Saturn is in, you'll find similarities. You'll find certain things, certain aspects of your Saturn placement that overlap with the South Node in that sign. It deals with some certain flaws or some certain shadows that we need to sort of work around and try to avoid, but also integrate. So wherever Saturn is in your natal chart, you're basically an infant coming into this life, and you have to just learn how to walk and learn how to navigate life, and learning how to not fall on your face, but you may fall on your face because it is a brand new area of life that is unfamiliar, and it may be difficult and uncomfortable for you, similar to the North Node. But with Saturn, it has its malefic limitations and it requires more work. So if you have Saturn in Virgo, the very, very first thing that you are good at is disseminating and discriminating people and information wherever that, substance in life comes from. and comes through. So you can discriminate between information, what information is good and useful and productive, and what information is a waste of your time and your breath and your mental energy to, to spend your energy on, to invest your time in. So it's very, very key before you read an article, before you look at a piece of information, to decide for yourself if it's really worth reading. What is the value of this information? What am I going to get from this information? What am I going to come away with? Am I just going to read it and then forget what the heck that I read? Or am I going to remember it? Is the information going to stick to my ribs? Is it going to impact me in some way, shape, or form? What kind of use, what kind of purpose and function does that information serve? So you can discriminate between what information is fake and what information is real, what information is valid and what pieces of information are invalid, and what information is really worth analyzing and investigating and digging into and pulling up the sauce of secrets to find the answers, and then to do something with that information, to actually apply the information that you come across in your life, where you read the information, you hear the information, and then you do something practical in your world regarding that information. So, you want to find a happy medium between leading a life that is not self-indulgent in criticism and guilt and whatever you indulge in, like whatever area of life lacks substance for you. Or what I mean by that is whatever area of life you're overdoing, basically. So whatever that may be, whatever you're doing in your life needs to be balanced out to where you're not leading a restrictive life either, a life that has too many rules in the rule book, has too many restrictions and rules and orders for you must do this in this particular way, in this particular order, at this particular time. So maybe it could be you restricting yourself into a certain regimen or a certain diet or a certain routine and structure, where you can't just have the flexibility and the spontaneity and the change factor, where there's an auditorium with red seats and the change factor is not allowed to sit in one of those seats, or was turned off by one of the ushers in the theater. But what I mean by this is maybe you can get yourself too bogged down in a routine or structure that you set up for yourself, where you have to follow this, you have to follow the structure. And it may be that you may need some kind of change, breaking free from the routine sometimes, allowing new things to come into your life, allowing new energy to come into your life, allowing time to breathe and time for the spontaneity and the flexibility and the real joy and the pleasures that you can experience in life. So this is all very important information to think about. You may be on a quest for purity of being. Now, what I mean by this is it may be that you want to exercise in a certain way. You have certain health things that you're doing that make you more pure, that make you more whole, that make you cleaner, and in an intellectual kind of way. So what this can be is you dissociating from what isn't going to serve you, and vice versa. You're forming an association to what will work out for you, to what you know will be valid and feasible and worthwhile for you in your life. And so the more pure you are, the higher your vibration. The healthier you're eating, the more you're exercising, the more you're taking care of your physical health, your nutritional health, but also your mental well-being. Don't just think that health is just getting enough exercise and eating healthy. It can also be in the emotional realm and in the mental realm. So prioritizing your mental well-being and your physical well-being at the same time. So achieving this state of bliss, it's going to be really, really important for you to do things that, number one, ground and center you, but number two, raise your vibration. So whatever that might be, maybe it's walks in nature, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's getting a massage, meditation, journaling, whatever it may be that brings you into a higher state of being and a higher state of consciousness. So that becomes really important. So, you can contemplate what purity means for you. And of course, no one and nothing is, entirely pure, but we can get as pure as we possibly can as human beings, or what can possibly be the way that we can reach a state of Zen and purity. But so doing things where you feel clean, where you feel pure, that are high vibration, are all great things to do to really make the most of life. Where that can get too far is when you turn it into perfectionism. So, perfectionism comes with a mean internal dialogue, a critical dialogue that says, I am not good enough. I have to do more. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I should be doing a whole bunch of other things that I have not got done yet, and I'm not there yet. What am I doing? I'm wasting my time. Like that mean internal dialogue, those gremlins in your mind, you can really suffer from those if you're not careful, if you're not in a state of being where you are aware. You can fall into the trap of perfectionism, wanting things to be better, improve, thinking that you are not enough, not going to bed unless you have everything checked off your list, not moving on until that thing is exactly right, exactly perfect, that it's done in the right way, that it's organized in the right way. So you can get yourself into this really negative thought pattern that is mean and that is affirming that you are not enough unless you do A plus B equals C and all those kind of things like that, where just by being, just by existing, just by taking up space, just by being a soul loving human experience, just by you in the present moment with what you have done, you are enough. You are good enough. And I would really, really repeat that. And I would really I think that for you, positive affirmations would really benefit you if you're somebody who has this placement or you resonate with perfectionism. So, affirmations that affirm that you are good enough and that deplete yourself of running rampant on perfectionism. So, um, those positive affirmations, you start saying them over and over again, and then you believe them, and then you integrate them, and they become more of who you are, and then you end up becoming what you affirm in your mind over and over. Thoughts become things. Thoughts create feelings. Thoughts create states of being. And I want to refer you to the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, where you can retrain and rewire your mind and your approach and your outlook on life. And so, yeah. So, that's what it comes down to. So, perfectionism, maybe perfectionism that comes from you being a perfectionist against yourself, on yourself, within yourself, but also a perfectionist to your external environment, to the people in the outside environment. Maybe you can be overly critical to them. So that becomes something to really, really keep in mind when you are demanding so much of yourself and so much of other people in the world. So, I would say definitely know that you're enough. Definitely know that you have done the best you can, and that you have what you have in this moment, and it's okay. It's okay to stop working, to take a rest, to surrender to what is going on in your life. So it's okay to relax and take time out for yourself and do all those kind of things like that. So with the perfectionism comes an insecurity of how you are moving through your life, thinking that you are not enough and that you need to be more and do more, and that you haven't got it right, and that you probably not going to give it right. And really beating yourself up over how you behave, of how you move yourself throughout life. Stop doing this. Stop doing it. Because you're really your own worst critic. And notice that people are not judging you externally. And you're the only one that's beating yourself up in your mind and being critical. And when we're critical of ourselves, when we fall prey to the voices in our head, we lose our self-love and we lose our connection with our soul selves. So, yeah, insecurity about who you are and how much work that you have done, like you haven't done enough work, you're not doing the right work, or whatever it may be. There's an insecurity with not being perfect. So this life may require streamlining and making efficient routines that serve you, that work out for you. So whatever the routine may be, that may not be so rigid, but it allows for flexibility. Like, don't set up a schedule if you're setting up a routine where you're boxing yourself into a particular routine in a particular state of being, in a particular laundry list of things that you need to do, where it overwhelms you and it overpowers you and it stresses you out with the amount of things that you have to get done. So making a routine that it provides the structure, but it also gives you some leverage and some freedom. It's going to be really, really important. So another great talent that you can really tap into is having your wits about you, number one, and number two, compartmentalization. You have a natural ability to put emotions to the side, feelings to the side, relationship issues, condiments of what you saw on the table at the restaurant, which represent various facets of your life aside in order to focus on the task at hand, in order to do what's right in front of you, in order to have what you want to, and to just be productive in that regard. So the other thing is you can be workaholic. You can be workaholic where that can turn into being negative, where you're just working and working and continuing to work. Where you're not allowing yourself time to rest, time to just stop and relax and do all those kind of things like that. So when you become a workaholic, you are denying your truth, you are denying your bodily needs, you're putting aside your physical health, your mental and emotional well-being when you get so involved in the tasks that you need to do, in the work that you need to do that is so insatiable. You become obsessed and consumed by what you do. And I'm going to say that when you fall into being a workaholic, turn the awareness on, turn the observer on, and recognize when you fall into this habit pattern or this loop or this way of being. When you're working so hard and your ego is running the ship and your soul is hanging out in your closet. Well, it's time to get your soul out of the closet and it's time to prioritize, your well-being. It can be work that you design, that you set up, work for yourself or work for other people, or you're serving other people. I mean, whatever that work may be, it is work. And not becoming a workaholic is something to be mindful of. Now, another thing is that you can put a lot of pressure on yourself to do the right thing, to be perfect, to have it all just work out the way that you intended, to make sure that the plan that you intended upon works out in that particular way. So, pressure on yourself when it comes to doing the right thing and getting the work done at this time, getting the work done in this way with this quality effort, that pressure can be a lot and it can be something difficult to grapple with and something difficult to contain after a while. So releasing the pressure valve of the pressure cooker, putting yourself in a safe sanctuary, a calm place, a calm sanctuary is going to be super important. Please note the spiritual practices that I described, that I listed earlier in this video. So when it comes to being critical of other people, don't expect other people to change. When when you can surrender and when you can go with the flow and just allow people to be who they are with what's going on, their habits, their ways of being. When we can surrender and when we can find radical acceptance for other people around us without needing to control our environment, without the need to control other people, we find true bliss and true serenity within ourselves. So you can't control other people. And don't get frustrated and don't get freaked out and do not get upset and annoyed and irritated when people are not acting in accordance to your plans. So this can show up especially at work, like, why are you not doing what I asked? They can make very, critical and demanding bosses at worst. So that's something to bear in mind, is not to expect other people to follow your plans, your routines, and act in a certain way, because people are not going to do that. You can't own people. We are all sovereign beings that do not have to go in accordance to anyone's plans. We can do our own thing. And so when you can stop trying to control the outcomes of things, control other people, then you'll be surprised at how you feel. So there is a need to be productive, to be useful, to be working, to be doing something which makes you feel efficient, like life is heading in a positive direction in that way. So you can also be persistent when it comes to your efforts. When you say that you're going to do something, you commit to it, you follow through with it to the end, because Virgo's a mutable sign. So it is working on one project over here, but then it notices another thing over here and another thing over there. But because it's Saturn energy, and Saturn deals with commitment, it deals with that you are going to say that you're going to do it, you're going to start it, and you're going to finish it to completion. So when you combine Saturn energy with the work ethic and the efficiency and the productivity of Virgo, you have someone who is going to stick it out, who is going to finish it, who is going to follow it through to completion. So you can be very exact and focused in on the details of life, focused in on the little things of, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. And, don't lose sight of the larger vision, the bigger picture, the grand idea, the dream for what you want to do in your life. But actually focusing in on the details is one of your greatest superpowers. That you can analyze and you can get things right, and you care so much that you want to attune yourself to these details, that you want to take care of details that a lot of people don't want to take care of. You're patient and you're in the game, and you want to just deal with the details that need to be dealt with. Now, going back to perfectionism, there needs to be a humility in understanding your limitations. So you are limited, and we're not human doings. We're not just robots who perform certain tasks over and over. Like, we have feelings, we have our lives. We need to take care of our body and our mental, emotional well-being. And so you only have your two hands. You only have these. And you can only do so much at a given time. So the question is, why are you hard on yourself for what you're doing when you know deep down that you are enough and that you've done enough? So that self-critical quality that you can possess is something to really um, bear into consideration and have awareness of. So you also seek to achieve greatness and to be the best that you can be. You demand excellence and quality of wanting yourself and others to be the best that they can be. And you can take something and look at it and go, oh, well, this is good and fine as it is, but how can we improve this? How can we make this better? What can we do to change this? What can we do to shift this around to make this more manageable or efficient or, whatever it needs to be? So improving, self-improvement. Maybe there's a certain way of being in your life that needs some fixing. It needs some TLC. Well, that may require you to seek that greatness, to seek that quality, to improve that thing. So you desire to put structure and order into life. That's, another aspect of this, where, you want things to be in their neat piles, in their neat, things, in their neat cubbies and everything like that. So structure and order becomes really, really important for you to achieve in your life. And then creating sustainable systems, creating systems that work for the long term. So, while you like punctuality, while you desire to be punctual, you feel the need to be punctual, to be on time, you may not always be on time because you may be preoccupied. You may get caught up in all the details of your life that you may not be functional. So, it's okay. You can only do so much at a given time. So maintaining your health is important. All, the areas of health, physical health, for emotional health, for spiritual health. Establishing boundaries is another thing. Knowing what you're going to say yes to and what you're going to say no to, and the sort of things that you need to establish, within yourself that are healthy and that are sustainable. So boundaries, especially when it comes to falling into martyrdom of where you're being a slave and where you're serving others and taking care of others, but you need to establish your own personal boundaries, take care of yourself, replenish your energy, do all of those self-care things. So healthy boundaries are going to be really, really important for you to develop in this life. It's going to be really important to create your own routines and structures and to move away from parental or institutional routines and structures. And, it's okay to make mistakes. It doesn't, learning is not this idolized process that is just so perfect and so neat. It does involve messiness. It involves making a mess and cleaning up later. It involves making mistakes, falling on your face several times, doing your due diligence, and then having something wrap it around with difficulty and chaos and conflict. Like, it's all part of the tapestry of life. That within this tapestry of life, there are mistakes, but you can use those mistakes to better your future endeavors. You can learn from those mistakes that you make and use it as fuel and use it as information to become better, to, to learn that I did this thing. I'm not, like there's, your awareness in your mind that just says, okay, I made a mistake. But then it's the critic that goes, oh darn it, you shouldn't have made that mistake. You're so stupid. And when you beat yourself up for making those mistakes, again, you lose connection with your soul. You lose connection with self-love. So, when it comes to careers here, so any career that allows you to be of service, whatever that may be. Maybe it is nonprofit work. Maybe it's being a doctor or a healer or someone who works in holistic healing or a nurse, whatever that might be. Acupuncture, being a therapist, any kind of career that allows you to be detail oriented, first of all, and serve another person, make a difference in their life. Because one of the things about Virgo energy is it finds a lot of fulfillment in being of service to somebody else. So you also have an innate understanding, if you have this placement, of the value of time, knowing that time is precious, knowing that time has its limitations, and that you only have 24 hours 7 days a week to work with. And you understand it's all about how you're using your time most efficiently and worthwhile, and you're using it wisely. You're making the most out of it. So you also come with a high work ethic. You can be pragmatic. And while you're stuck into what you need to do and the work that you need to do, knowing when to let go of needing to control a particular outcome, needing to do your best and surrender to the rest, needing to just let go and let God, knowing when you've done all you can, you put all your hard work in, you checked off the details. Now it is time for me to surrender and allow the universe to take over and create this plan, because you may have a plan that you structured out from your ego mind, but that plan in and of itself may not be the plan that is truly meant for you. Maybe it's the universe's plan, that the universe is wise and loving, and it has this plan that is perfect for you, right for you. And so when you can surrender to the uncertainty, surrender to your plan, let go of control, and go with the flow, more so, and trust in divine timing, trust that you'll get where you need to get in the perfect time, yeah, just letting go of the need to be perfect, the need to be right all the time, the need to have it done, whatever that may be for you. There's also talent with picking things apart that you possess and analyzing data. So you're good at anything that involves you being detail oriented. Now, you may need some time at home. So time in solitude, time spent in, a quiet environment to take care of yourself, to nurture yourself. So you may need time alone where you're not with another person, you're not with this particular situation, being with yourself and taking care of yourself, taking that detail-oriented surface energy and focus on yourself and your well-being. Taking time out for that is going to be really important. You can also be very rational, very logical, However, too rational and logical may deplete your emotional connection with people that you may be in a relationship with. So it's also important to be mindful of that, to allow for there to be emotional connections. So with Saturn and Virgo, you can have you can have Virgo energy, but when you add Saturn, it just turns up the volume on Virgo energy in general. It intensifies it, it heightens, it magnifies that energy much more. So you may be reserved, you may crave time for introspection, or time alone to yourself, as opposed to traveling places and getting out and meeting new people. And I was reading about Saturn and Virgo, and one of the things that it was saying was about the importance of getting out there and meeting new people and engaging with life. There's a deep need to control your environment with Saturn and Virgo. You may not stop working until everything on your list is checked off, but it's important to go to sleep at the right time and take care of yourself, and know that you may not get it all done during the day, but don't, have the mindset that the work that you're doing is more important than my physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So focusing on a goal and committing to that is going to be super important. So it's also important to know that work and routines aren't the only things that matter in life. There's also the aspects of life that are filled with joy and pleasure and fun and curiosity and enthusiasm and spontaneity and excitement and opportunity in life. So you can be good at picking out flaws, picking out things that are wrong in a particular argument or whatever that may be. So you're good at picking out the things that are wrong and finding solutions to fix those things, to improve those things. And so, again, I'm going to say this again, don't forget about your mental, emotional well-being when you put so much emphasis on your work and your professional life. So relaxing from time to time is really important. Now, another thing about Saturn in Virgo is that you can be very serious-minded and you can be very focused. You can have a goal and you can, really go after that goal. So working in the scientific fields might be very good for you. Anything that allows needs accurate details, maybe it's accounting or math, or being a mailman or something like that. Anything that involves accuracy and attention to detail. So people with displacement can also be very industrious. So you may feel insecure and you might not feel comfortable and happy and at ease and at peace when things do not go to plan. But you need to learn to trust in the universe, to trust that this is for my highest good, that things are not going to my plan, according to my plan, that there's a reason, there's a deeper meaning, and there's a lesson behind this, that there is an outcome that is going to come out of this that's going to be way better than I could have envisioned it. So finding things that connect you with the here and now, that get you out of the mental chatter of analyzing your lists and your routines and all those kind of things like that. Anything that allows you to focus on the present moment, what's going on in your environment, that's going to be huge. So, like what you're seeing, what you're hearing. So, your thoughts are your thoughts, but you are good. You're good in the here and now. All is well in the here and now. So, focusing your attention on the present moment is going to be key for you. So, having a healthy work-life balance is going to be super important. So, you may also be very confident in your abilities, but you may have a slave mentality. So, it's important to not be enslaved by the amount of things that you have to do, by your work, by all of it. Now, certain negative manifestations that come out of Saturn and Virgo's need for organization and cleanliness and structure may be hypochondria or obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, at the high road, you really have a love of working hard and being of service to others. So, there's a deep need to be in a particular role where you are putting your value into what you're doing, and it's making a difference where when you're giving, you're receiving back the joy of giving. You're going outside of yourself. You're knowing that you're doing something useful and for somebody else's highest good, and that you're adding value to the world in that way. So that is all that I want to say on Saturn and Virgo. I hope that you found value here in this video, and if you did, you can share it with the people that you think would also find value from this video. Like this video so that it gets out to more people, so that the YouTube algorithm can get it out to more people that are interested in this content. Consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a comment down below if you so wish to, and I'll see you in another video.